G'day guys, Clint Adams here, recording episode number 5 of The Craft with John Mahoney, who is the director of Mail Poste Haste. We, in The Craft, talk about craft beer and ask the chosen guest about their craft. In this episode, John talks about, his early work as an employee at Holden, moving into owning his own business and buying Mail Poste Haste. And there's some good stuff in there about, future John. So there's some tips in there for some young people that about maybe thinking about the future more than the now and how much it's benefited John in the short time that he's been alive. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Sorry I'm laughing, John is Instagramming everything while I'm talking. So we've got our first beers. Have you got a cold one there?
I hope so.
Straight away?
Yeah, I don't know what we're waiting for.
We're not here to make love to spiders.
I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Not here for a haircut. No, I think John's taking care of you.
Yeah.
So the first beer we have here is a, what was it? What do you call it? A collab.
A collab?
Between the Uraidla Brewery and Bridge Road Brewers. It's a brewer down under. Oh God, is this related to like the tour down under? It's a brewer down under?
Bloody cyclists.
Ah, you, Trent, he set us up. It's a lighter beer, 4.2%. A hoppy lager that was designed for refreshment after a long ride.
After a long ride?
Yeah, I'm assuming on a bike.
Oof.
So The Craft is a podcast. It's a video and audio podcast where we obviously drink craft beer and talk about your chosen craft. Cheers. So we try to highlight beers that have been made in South Australia. We haven't used any non-South Australian beers, have we? Maybe in the first one, but these
Where
are all
these guys from?
So these are all South Australian. These guys are a collab between Uraidla and Bridge Road.
Yep.
It was made at the Uraidla Brewery in Uraidla. And then obviously Lobethal, Port Adelaide, Stepney, Adelaide Hills. Yeah, so that's cool.
All nice and local.
So I guess to get started, I'd like to find out a bit about where it all, your school history very briefly before we get into your business. So you grew up in South Australia?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Australia. I grew up in Salisbury East, so Adelaide's northern suburbs.
Yep.
I'm currently 35 years of age, so born 84,
Yep.
started school in 90 in reception, so around that kind of generation.
Yep, the 90s schooling.
The 90s schooling, the pre-iPhone.
Yeah.
So primary school, high school, bit of a rat bag in high school to be honest. Out at Salisbury East High School, got expelled in year 9, halfway through year 9. So
That was pretty young.
yeah, expelled halfway through year 9, took a couple months off. Just being a rat bag.
Oh, so you got solid expelled, a term.
I got solid kicked out halfway through year 9. So that was a little bit of an event.
Yep.
And then after that, went back to another school to complete 10, 11 and 12. Year 12 completed by the skin of my teeth.
So you still passed year 9 after missing a bit of it?
So I went to a Catholic school and they forgave me.
That's very nice.
Yeah, so the Lord forgave me. The Lord forgave me. They done the right thing.
And then, so 10, 11, 12 different schools?
10, 11 and 12 at Thomas More,
Yep.
which is also out in the northern suburbs. Got through year 12, like I said.
So you got your stage 2?
I got my SACE just.
Yep.
Just. Like,
I don't have one.
yeah, very... Thank you to the good teachers, probably just for helping me.
Yep.
Almost didn't even make it to year 12. Nearly got expelled on the last week of year 12.
For mark-up day stuff?
No, for drinking. Legit for drinking.
And here we are at The Craft.
And here, so it all seems like it all
worked out.
All comes full circle from the outdoor education camp and run away and grab beers when I was on year 12 camp.
Did you go straight from school to work? Or did you mess around for a bit? Or
I intended to mess around, but everyone else had different ideas. So I intended to mess around and then I started working at Holdens.
Yep.
So that was 2003. around that 18 years of age, 2003, and that was when Holdens out at Elizabeth was putting on their third shift.
So was this
2002 was, O2 was graduated.
So things were still really good for Holden back then.
Yeah, so this is when they were putting on their third shift,
Yep.
at the beginning of 03.
Yep.
So they were putting on their third shift, so if you could walk through the door, you could have a job.
It was that crazy.
It was that easy.
Yep.
Putting on a third shift out.
There's needed people.
Yeah, they needed 7,000 from 4,000 kind of situation. So if you could walk through the door,
Yep.
you're in.
And as long as you kept rocking up.
As long as you kept rocking up, then you got paid every week.
Yep.
And it didn't matter, anything else as long as you got there.
Yep.
So that was a production line job. Couple years on afternoon shift, so 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 11 o'clock at night. Doing the same job every 75 seconds.
Wow.
So every 75 seconds, exactly the same job. I could probably do the jobs now.
Because it's
It's
10,000
that job
hours.
into
You've had 10,000 hours.
10,000, 2 years.
Wow.
2 years on a production
What were you
line.
doing?
So I was working on the cockpit, assembling pretty much as a driver, everything you see in front of you.
Yep.
As the cockpit, assembling that to go into the car hold.
So just parts together.
Parts together. So it starts off as a rail, and you put on bit by bit air conditioning component, wiring loom, your fascias, and as it travels down, the next person might put in the glove box.
And they don't rotate you guys around. They're just
They do in the sense of 2 hours. You might move. You do
Yep.
down a job, but then there's only 6 jobs, so you go back.
Yep.
So it's all very, very much the same.
Wow.
So just so you don't quite get RSI and
Yep.
carpal tunnel in that spot, you will change. So you're just using a little bit of a different movement.
Did you enjoy it? Were they good years?
Looking back, I think they were.
Yep.
At the time, no. But being 18 and a half years old and probably pocketing $1,000 a week,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Living with your parents?
Living with my parents at the time, I was lucky enough to work a good job, get some good money, and by the time I was 19, I signed for my first property.
Was someone pushing you, or was that you?
No, it wasn't so much somebody pushing me. It was just I didn't want to be blowing everything that I was getting every week.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the same situation were going out. They were getting cars.
Well, especially the car deal you could get with Holden. And
the car deal, and everyone's getting a loan for a club sport at the time, a VT Series 2,
Yep.
and a Skyline,
Yep.
and at that time
33s and 34s.
Yeah, I think some 33s and some 34s and all that kind of thing. But then they're making a $1,200 repayment a month.
Yeah, and petrol and insurance.
And
$2,000 a month for was it not that $2,000 a year for insurance?
Yeah, something like that. So I just avoided that. Stayed at home with my parents. Same thing. I was 18, 19.
Yep.
Going into about 19 years of age, working overtime. Not really working my ass off, but just spending less than what I was earning. And after a good 9 months, I looked at my bank account and I was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
What should I do with it? So after not very much reading, and this is pre-YouTube,
What's the other book? I was just trying to think of the book.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That was one, but what's the
Kiyosaki.
recent one that just came out about like buying houses and property? The ING bank account savings, Barefoot Investor, that kind of shit. Like they're the kind of books that a 19-year-old should be reading now, and then they've kind of got an understanding of obviously what you're about to talk about.
Barefoot Investor is a great book as well. There you can pay yourself first and do your savings first. So it was that kind of mentality where I was, okay, well, right now I'm doing well, but it could run out. So what else can I do just to make my life easier when I'm old? How can I help old John? That's always been.
Where did that come from? Because that sounds very wise for a 19-year-old. That was just you?
And that was just me, and I still do that to this day, is always thinking about something forward. So whether it's even work now, whether it's buy something or rent something, grow something, as in grow an investment or whatever it may be, is always just about something in the future.
Yeah.
So whether it's leaving a legacy or leaving something for children, I don't have any children at the moment, or whether it's leaving something for my children or something for myself, whatever it may be, it always just comes down to what else can I do to make myself. If I didn't do those things when I was 20, I wouldn't be where I am now at 35.
Yeah. So imagine what you can do at 55.
So what can I do? Where can I be at 45?
Yeah.
Where can I? So that's where that always comes into.
That's cool. It really honestly, like at 19, I wish I was thinking like that.
So yeah, that was my first place out at Smithfield, which we all know is not the greatest area.
Well, it's a good entry market.
It was a very good entry market. It was a very good lead into the property market. A block of land was $59,000, and a 3-bedroom house was 101.
This is from someone who's 35. This isn't like your dad sitting here going, I bought my first house for $59,000.
So yeah, 160,000 all said and done. It was a 3-bedroom house out there.
So you sold that?
So I, from that house, same thing, got some equity, started saving again to go for a next level. So as property went over 4%, 5%, interest rates were about 9-10% a year, PA then. Property market was just growing. As interest rates went up, people needed to purchase more affordable houses. So that started putting those houses into that 250 category. So you build them for 150, you sell them around that 250. So from there, then I went to another one.
So you were developing as well?
So not so much developing, just going to a builder, getting a cookie cutter house.
Which people call them, they call themselves developers when they do that now, but you're basically just buying a house.
You're buying a house. Yeah. You're buying a house, you choose some paint.
Cash roll the build.
Cash roll the bill and hammer into it as much as you can. As soon as you get enough equity in that account, use that as a deposit for something a little bit better.
And you're at Holden the whole time?
So I was at Holden the whole time for that. I was at Holden for 12 years, nearly 13.
So that's good. So that's a long service leave.
So that was long service leave, your pro rata, and I was lucky enough to do an apprenticeship and a trade there.
What was that?
So I'm a toolmaker by trade.
Okay. That's not something you use now?
No, that's not something I use now. That was more of after my second property, I was looking to leave. So the idea was to use my full-time job to gain property, get something behind me, and then figure out actually what I'd like to do as an adult. Because
you didn't go to Holdens because you wanted to build cars for the rest of your life.
It was a means to an end of getting a full-time job with a wage to be able to try to set myself up while I figured out what I wanted to do.
So then, let's grab this other beer. So then we fast forward to the end of that Holdens period.
So the end of the Holdens period, which is coming up to 5 years ago. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2013 we got told at Holdens we were shutting down. If I'm not mistaken, it was the 11th of December 13.
So this is all when the government were trying to bail Holdens out, and
it was a bit of a backwards and forwards where the government wanted a co-investment project beyond VF. So VF was on the road.
That was the last one they made.
VF was the last platform that we made at Elizabeth. So it was that time when they needed another not a bailout but a co-investment.
That's how the government described it.
That's how they described it, and that's how the manufacturer described it. As to the politics behind it, it's all up for debate between.
And I mean, for you, you're just, hey, I need my job, or I need to at least know what I'm doing. Thank you, Trent.
So what one we got here?
So this is a Lobethal Bierhaus Citra hopped Pilsner. So
smells like.
Most of these beers will be quite fruity.
Yeah, I was going to say it's fruity.
It's 4.8%, made in Lobethal.
Trent's getting on it.
Trent's happy to try. Cheers, Trent. It smells homebrewy.
It does, doesn't it?
It smells in Corona territory to me.
No, I wouldn't go Corona territory, but it's definitely fruity.
For people watching at home, John likes Corona.
With tequila in it.
So John's got a special beer called John's Corona.
Which is, your Corona with your tequila in it.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's not that special, but you have if you have them, you have special nights.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of the.
It's one of those. It's like some of the beers I drink are kind of 8%. They'll get pretty strong. There's some in the fridge that I've got for later.
Yeah.
And they're 8%. And what you're doing by putting a shot of tequila in a Corona basically makes an 8% Corona.
Well, you're really bringing it up to kind of that,
two standards.
Yeah,
2.2-ish.
Yeah. I think so. It just gives a little bit more pep.
Which I was like, some of the guests that we have on, I'm concerned about. I guess their booze fitness,
their ability,
and for me as well, because I haven't been drinking as much this year as obviously when we had lunch that time.
We're discussing.
So my booze fitness is definitely not there. Anyway, I don't mind this. It's definitely not in my wedge of beers, but.
Are these coming off your recommendations, Trent, or are these? The ones on special at the local shop?
Yeah, we had a
There's
budget.
certainly one on special.
We have a budget.
I don't think I've tried any of these.
Some of Lobethal stuff's good. This is a little bit bitter for me.
It is bitter, the after...
Yeah, but everyone has different tastes. We like to do this to try and help highlight what's available.
And what's going around.
I hate bad mouthing. Like we had one that I really didn't enjoy, but it doesn't mean someone won't enjoy it.
No, that's
There's plenty
right.
of sour beers that people love.
And that's the same thing. You watch those cooking programs, it's too salty. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like some salt.
I like some salt. Leave me alone. I like my cheese sandwich with salt on it. Leave me alone.
So 2013.
So we're going around that kind of 13 where at that time I'm a tradesman. I've finished my apprenticeship. Good money.
Yep.
Happy.
Because you're more qualified then than you were.
Because you're more qualified,
Yep.
so you've got a trade, you're more valuable,
Yep.
you do some levels, you do some training, you start doing a bit of project management, and there's many different fields that are available then.
Yep. Were you a good employee?
I'd like to think so.
Yep.
I done quite well, within the ranks of Holdens.
Well, you were there 13 years.
I was there 13 years. I came up with some very unique solutions to some very unique problems.
Yep.
Which gained me a lot of depth and credibility going forward into project management.
Yep.
So as a tradesman, be able to look at projects and problems and come with solutions.
Yep.
Having that kind of creative side and lateral thinking, that really helped at Holdens.
Yeah.
With that, you also get your crazy bits where, you're a little bit hard to control and, a little bit eccentric.
I imagine there'd be some pretty loose units working there back then. Like,
Definitely on production.
Yeah.
You definitely got your loose units, but you also got some amazing people
and lifers as well, dudes that had worked. I mean, you did
Yeah.
13. That's probably you're a baby, probably.
And that
compared to
even at
someone.
13, it was a baby
Yeah.
compared to people when I was starting. They were on 25 years.
Yeah.
And
I saw the devastation in people's faces when it got shut finally.
Oh, it was. That's people whole lives. There's 45, 50-year-old people, even further.
Yeah.
They came straight from school.
And then they
They
try to reskill them, but
The reskilling project, it was very much up to the employee how much they wanted to capitalise on
Yep.
it. So you could go do courses up to a certain value or a skill set that you wanted to obtain.
Yep.
So whether it was you wanted to become a fork truck driver or a truck driver,
Yep.
you wanted to go to university, or if you had a trade, you wanted to progress into it, maybe into engineering. So there were paths and there were opportunities. It was up to the person to capitalise what they done.
Was that after you left though?
So that was during that whole period from once we got told we're closing the doors. So that was end of 13, December 13, where we're going to
Yep.
close. There started to become all the initiatives to be able to reskill, upskill, train,
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that's when it was up to everybody to start to think, what's next?
Yep.
It's shutting down.
Yeah,
It was a few years.
it's pretty good notice.
It was quite a few years. So it was a good couple of years notice. But in hindsight, would you want to know? Here's a question for you
Oh, I know where this is going.
about.
Would you want to know the day you're going to die?
Yeah, would you
I'd take it.
the day
Yep.
or would
If you could tell me the day that if you could, and not obviously just from a natural point of view, not like we are going to kill you.
No, not we're going to kill you.
But
on this day.
if you're like, would you like to know? Yeah, definitely.
Because you are how old at the moment?
37.
37. So if they could say you're going to be 63
Yeah.
or 42,
I'd take it.
You take it. You want to
Yeah.
know? You wouldn't rather.
Well, it depends on the conditions. Can I change it? By making
change it.
lifestyle changes?
No.
No,
It's
then I
just-
would just go
it-
fucking postal.
It is what it is. What it is.
If you're like you're dead at 42, I'm like, business closed, cashing out. I'd live differently if I knew.
Did you listen to that, Trent?
Trent's left. He quit.
He quit.
He doesn't care if we close the business.
He's out of here.
I want you to live.
I don't want you to die.
At 42.
I don't want you to die.
Oh man, I hope this isn't like one of those Simpsons episodes where I die at 42 and they go back and they're like, John called it.
John called it. There has been how many of those Simpsons
I
things have there
know, and I
been?
don't know if it's true or not, but
They all come up on Instagram and this
God.
person's won a Super Bowl and this person's going to do this.
Donald Trump coming down an escalator and
Yeah.
Anyway,
But a thousand episodes or whatever.
there's got to be something, yeah.
There's got to be some. You got to get something right sooner or later.
True. So where did Mail Poste Haste come in? I want to get into that.
Yep. So let's get into that. So Mail Poste Haste was a company originally started over 20 years ago.
Yep.
I've had it myself for the last coming up to 5 years. So we're just starting off. We're in February 2020.
Yep.
I'm coming up to 5 years in that. In the time before me, it was not what it is now. So it started off being just a complete mail service. So what I mean by that is it was to get mail from the Australia Post to the business owner or the manager or the receptionist or who needed it, just in a way of a convenience, more of a luxury.
As far as going to post office boxes?
As far as going to post office boxes or wherever your mail may be.
So it might not be a PO box, it could just be...
A lot of time it's PO box.
Yep.
So whether it's a GPO, your general post office, or your one here at Kent Town, you got your PO box.
Yep.
More of a luxury to have somebody bring it to you, to your desk, to the receptionist, something like that.
If you value that time more than the money.
If you value that time. So it's more of a luxury because whoever the business owner was, they don't want the person going AWOL for 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Whatever it works out to be.
Whatever it works out to be. So they value the time more, and they still want the luxury of having a PO box because it's a bit more prestigious rather than a street address.
Yep.
Then if you move premises, you don't need to worry about your letterheads. Keeps everything nice and central. So it started off just as that.
Yep.
As we all know, fast forward 20 years, we're talking 97, 98, 2000. Now we come to our paperless era where mail obviously, when was the last time you wrote a letter and put it in a letterbox?
I had a book when I was young called Free Stuff for Kids,
and
I would send letters and get free stuff, so 90s.
Yep, so it's been a good couple of decades.
It's been a while,
and excluding Christmas, I'm sure you don't get a lot of letters except from AGL and the government.
I have amusing moments where we get checks in business sometimes, and that always makes me laugh. They come in the post sometimes. But
I get about three a month. I'll probably get about 3 checks a month, and I'm still...
Yeah.
All right.
You take it because it's cash.
I take it because...
But you're like,
almost, can I just save them?
Well, you've also got how many people going to a bank every day?
Myself?
Yeah. Like as in, it's not hard for you to bank a check.
No, it's not hard for me. It's not hard for me to bank a check
to
because
the
I have
rest of the world. Yeah.
But for you yourself...
Yeah, we have to send,
you've got to send someone to... in Nord Parade or in the CBD or depending on your financial...
And I've jumped ahead because obviously you haven't talked about that yet. But
no. So then, as you can see, the mail side of things getting lighter, I figured it comes back to that, moving with the current and staying relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to figure out more services to provide the same and more customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to just figure out why people were leaving the office, whatever the businesses were, and try to capitalize on those functions.
Rather than just going, oh, well,
rather than going,
business is getting quiet.
Rather than going, business is getting quiet and the phone's not ringing and waiting for something bad to happen, of just running out of cash flow.
Yep.
And going...
So you bought this business.
Yep.
Grew it, and then it changed, or it was changing?
No, I've changed it. So when I got it 5 years ago, it was a good business.
Yep.
It was reliable. A lot of the employees have been there for 7, 8, 9 plus years.
Yep.
But it was very stagnant.
Yep.
There wasn't a website. There wasn't corporate clothing.
Yep.
The vehicles were all very plain. They could have been delivering cucumbers to the Adelaide markets.
Wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't have known.
Yep.
There wasn't those kinds of things. So my thought was, if someone's been around for this long at this stage, which I felt was a bit more of an infant stage of a business, but you're still making ends meet, you're still making your BAS and your payroll.
Yeah.
Where's the potential where's it gonna stop?
Yep.
So my idea was to invest heavily time-wise into it and provide more services. So then from there, I've gone into more services as we were talking about before.
So quickly, I obviously know the answers to these questions, but post.
Yep.
So you move mail from PO boxes to businesses and back.
Yep. So clear your PO box in the morning, take it to the business. In the afternoon, take it from the business and lodge it at the post office.
Yep.
The beauty of that is where you can utilise the business hubs, which accelerate the posting process, where parcels, a lot of things like that. It is time critical for, depending on the industry, you sending a Christmas card to somebody you don't really care about. But when they're checks, information, documents, those kinds of things, it's a timely manner. So
a lot of legal, medical.
A lot of
property.
A lot of settlements, conveyance, insurance. A lot of policies still need to be live signatured.
Yep.
So that's kind of the core of the postage sector.
Yep. So that's one wedge of it, and
that's a wedge. Another wedge would be banking.
Yep.
which exactly as it sounds is the banking service portion. So that was a bit of a thing of, I need to go get a cash in transit license. I need to make sure my employees got their police clearances, that kind of sector. So that's pretty much exactly going around to different places, going to the finance institutes, doing the banking on their behalf.
Yep.
Whether it's checks, whether it's their cash, whether it's a money change, it could just be.
That's interesting.
It could be the money change for the cash register at a small place over there. They could just want.
Because they can't leave.
It's not so much they can't leave. It's not worth it.
Well, sometimes they can't. I mean, obviously it's not worth it. Like if it's a one-person operator, like you've got these delis that are like open 8 till 8.
8 to 8, and the bank's open 9:30 till 4:30.
They need change. So.
Yeah. Or the other thing is, the banks could be 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
Even 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
10 minutes there, 10 minutes back is over 60 hours a year.
And they're carrying cash, and it could be large amounts. And
they're carrying cash. I'm not going to go into details of which customers we're utilising, things like that, but some of them are quite heavy in cash.
And so they might be sending an administrative person who's got no training in cash.
You've got an
security.
Administration, so not being anything, but sending a young female with money, it's not.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to.
Well, there's a potential that you're putting your staff in a position where they're not comfortable, and they're not going to say it because no one's going. You're just
nobody's going to say they don't want to, but they probably don't.
Whereas your team are trained in that.
Yeah, so you've got trained in that with your cash in transit license.
Yep. And that's hard to get from what I understood last time you were telling me. You've got to tick a lot of boxes. Thank you, Trent.
Are we going to?
Let's talk about this. So this is Pirate Life, who are the brewery that made me fall in love with craft beer. Actually, probably not, but they were up there.
Down in Port Adelaide now, they've outgrown their place on South Road.
It's mental, man. I mean, you know about these guys.
Yeah, everybody knows about these.
Yeah, so this is, 3.8%. It's I guess, Pirate Life's answer to a cider. So you are not going to get an apple cider there, I don't think. If you were a cider drinker, this is one that you would choose. My wife loves this drink. If we were to have a beer in the fridge that she was going to choose, this would be it. It's probably it's a rosé drinkers, cider drinkers kind of wedding beer. Cheers.
Trent's getting amongst it.
Have you tasted it before? It's
I don't think about any.
it's legit sour.
Yeah.
But it's not rude.
It's not rude sour. It's definitely that
It's refreshing.
Man, I like it.
Yeah. So at a 3.8, obviously you'd stick a shot of tequila in it.
Stick a shot of tequila, I reckon a bit of vodka in that would go, just light it up a bit.
John's Acai Passionfruit.
Yeah.
But they had another one similar at a similar time, boysenberry or Passionfruit maybe.
Do they go through different fruits or?
Yeah, I don't know
seasonal?
if they do. They try to make one-offs and different beers and
bit of a batch.
The chocolate stouts or there's some stuff that you can only get down there. That's just been on tap. I think they had one for New Zealand, or it was it was made with a certain hop, and it was just ridiculous. It would almost give you hay fever. It was that hoppy. It was just
really,
geez, which I love. That's hoppy beers, but this is nice, refreshing.
Nice and refreshing.
So you got your cash and transit license.
So I got the cash and transit license. Went to the banking, which is quite a big wedge of the whole pipe.
Yep.
The just taking that piece out of people's daily routine is something that they appreciate. They don't realise how much time you're actually saving until you say. You might be sending somebody there to the bank every day. All of a sudden, it's 60 hours a year. As soon as I say it to you, you go, and what else could that person do for 60 hours?
Are you the salesperson for that?
So yes, I am.
So you'll go out and meet with a client and go...
So I'll go meet with a potential client, whether it's discussing via email or over a meal or just going out and talking with them, I still like that initial contact face-to-face of having that personalised service. Nothing against larger corporations and things like that, but if you call them, they'll put you on hold. Press 2 if it's important. Everyone should be important.
It's funny, and people won't know this because they can't see it, but John's phone's there pointing at him. And he can see if it rings. So the podcast could stop for a client, and you're not going to get that from a...
No, you're not going to get that where you can actually see the phone sitting over there.
Yeah.
It's always sitting in the view, or
you got your watch. Yeah.
You always have your watch on so you can see what needs to be done.
It's pretty cool that technology is available now.
It's good. There's
has
so
its-
much more technology that we can utilize these days to harness time.
Yep.
So the one thing yourself, being a business owner, myself, and everybody
Yep.
is you can't create time, but you always need it. So using the right technology and the right fundamentals, you can almost create more time by using everything efficiently. So whether it is on your phone, on your watch, you're in the middle of something, you can see if it's worth breaking your momentum.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, so you can see if it's worthwhile, the time versus the value. You know, you've got your no, that's all right. It's only
Mine's been a bitch lately. It doesn't connect. I've got to deal with it, but it's
yeah.
not.
It's good. You got to go to Apple. I've realised. I sent you a text message and it came up green.
Yeah, and you're like, he's a foreigner.
I was like, oh no. If he's not on a plane, then
What if I can't get in touch with him? I'll have to use like Facebook Messenger,
I'll have to use something.
Instagram DM. But I had a falling out with Apple mentally.
Mentally or with?
Well, I didn't ring anyone that worked there and go.
So
off.
they don't know about it.
They don't know about it. They might watch this if this reaches the heights of Apple's head office, but the last phone I had was the 5.
Oh, so that's all.
Yeah.
It's a long-standing.
I go through a phone. Like this phone here is probably
It nearly
a
died.
month old,
Oh, jeez.
and that's a Huawei, the Chinese.
How are you?
Huawei.
Yeah, how are you?
Now that's probably one of the best phones I've ever had from a
Is it really?
battery life. I can do 2 days on that, and I'm on my phone a lot.
Really?
It's wireless charging. We're doing a bloody phone ad. The camera's mental.
For your selfies?
Yeah, I do a lot of selfies, and it makes my face look better than it is.
Yeah.
Facial recognition for unlock with glasses on, which is a big deal for me.
That's the thing. In all seriousness, the X. Let's go into some technology.
Yeah.
The new iPhone, the face recognition is amazing.
Yeah.
Between my beard, sunnies, and a hat,
It'll
and
still
it still
know.
gets me.
Yeah, and it won't get someone else with similar face, beard,
and it's
sunnies,
like,
and hats.
man,
Yeah.
like, it's nose recognition. I'm sure.
Yeah, which is scary in its own right, but I'm fine with it.
No.
So I've really enjoyed that phone, but I had an Apple, and I was just sick of like not being able to download the shit I wanted, and that the security features that most people love about Apple
Yep.
pissed me off.
Yep.
Because it felt controlling. So
It
I was
felt
like,
too.
Fuck this! I'm getting my like.
I'll be my own person.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm starting my own phone company.
get my own phone. I'm getting Howie. I don't even know where it is.
Freedom phones.
Freedom phones.
Yeah.
I can download wherever I want.
So, and everyone's like, oh, so you got the Chinese government spy phones. I'm like, well, you've got the American government spy
Oh,
phones.
you know what? Like, if they really want to see,
Like how many sprinklers I'm selling.
yeah, if they really want to look at it, you know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, or like my Uber bill for last month.
Yeah, you want to see? Yeah, you want to see what I had for lunch? Go for it.
I think it's funny, like that privacy argument. Like I'm not too concerned. Like,
It doesn't personally bother me.
but I think until
I'll go through my camera roll right now if anyone wants to see.
yeah, until someone.
Like, you want to see pictures of my shoes at home?
oh, we're
go
going
right
to talk
ahead.
about your shoes. So but we'll finish up on the wedges of business.
So we'll go away from that. So we've got banking.
Yep.
We've done that. So we got mail, which is where it started, which
Yep.
is still almost my bread and butter for
Yep.
your daily
because
sets.
it's constant work.
It's continual.
Yep.
Whether a customer's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whether a customer's every morning and night, or some of the larger customers have got a lot more
Periodic. Yep.
a lot more facets into their services.
Yep.
But it's the same. So they get basically the same charges every month.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got your banking. Same thing. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be Monday, Friday, whatever their patterns are. So you've got the mail and the banking. The next thing would be the distribution of products.
Yep.
So I'll go for the plug. So one of the customers that come to mind would be Massive Joe's.
Yep.
So Massive Joe's is a health supplement supplier. So brick and mortar stores. He also has online
Yep.
things like that. But we'll just talk about
South Australia only,
South Australia and Melbourne,
and obviously then into or national distribution.
and then distribution via your online sales globally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's India, Canada, etc., etc. Massive Joe's will ship there. If DHL and that will go
If
there.
they go there, they'll ship there,
Yeah,
yep.
I think if you've got a postcode, you're pretty well
Yep.
set. So Massive Joe's have got a number of brick and mortar stores in South Australia,
Yep.
ranging from Seaford out to Gawler, up to Mount Barker, and good saturation in between.
Yep.
So the product distribution with Massive Joe's is exactly that. On certain days, my guys will come collect his stock
Yep.
and deliver it to his stores, whether it's Brickworks or Gawler,
Yep.
and that kind of thing. The beauty of that, from my point of view, is it's set certain days, certain drivers do certain stores, whether it's a Monday, whether it's a Thursday or Friday. I know which drivers are going to which stores and what they're doing. That gives me the knowledge to know what drivers are where. The beauty from the customer's point of view is he knows those products are going to those stores on that day.
Yep.
So he can forward his planning. So stores don't need to be overstocked.
Yep.
You can run your shelves quite lean yet
Which
full.
they all have expiry dates as well, don't they?
Which
So that's something.
They have expiry dates, but also you don't need to overcrowd your showroom because you don't know when you're getting more stock back in. So you've got your central warehouse. You know each store gets done twice in a week.
Yep.
Each store gets done twice in a week. So that store knows, okay, do I have enough of product X to get through till Monday? I'll get another 2 tubs.
Yep.
Or I'll get another 5.
Yep.
So from him, it gives him the reliability, it gives them the reliability to run their business and not concentrate on logistics and stock.
Yep. Because they're doing what they do best.
They do what they do best, which is providing service of a brick and mortar health food supplements. So that's the product distribution side of the business. The final biggest wedge would be the car parts distribution, which is very similar to the products in the sense of they have a central warehouse with their car parts, but it's out to crash shops.
Yep.
So same thing, that particular customer, each one of these customers are quite large in their own right. With their distribution out to crash shops, they know at 9:30 in the morning, this particular driver in a ute will pick up everything to go out to North.
Yep. So they make bumper bars or whatever.
Yep. So that
Crash repair at X needs it from there.
Yep. So you got the crash repair at Holden Hill.
Yep.
They know they need that headlight from this customer.
Yep.
The customer knows they've got it in stock. They know at 9:30, Matt will be on their premises from Post Haste to pick up the parts, and anything at North, Matt will take.
So did all this, obviously these have just been bits you've added.
I've added them on. They came almost from a Holdens Regiment.
Because you knew that it was happening?
Not so much that. It was very much Holdens was a place for everything that's placed, and it was drummed into you over this 13-year period. So it's almost an army military-like lifestyle.
We need that here.
And you need that, a place for everything that's placed.
Yeah.
So I think that's what drove almost the OCD side of my organisation.
Because your whole adult career until Post Haste was Holden.
Yeah, correct. So taking away from investments and rental properties and that facets of my life is my whole professional life had been Holden orientated. So then all of a sudden owning a courier and logistics business was, okay, how do I put what I'm comfortable with into this?
Yeah.
And then what values would I expect out of somebody to provide them the service that I would like?
Yep.
Which, you know yourself, is my values come from efficiency, reliability, and the personalised service.
Yeah, I see honesty and integrity inside yours as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've only met you once before, but it was very quick. I was quick to see that, like, I guess what you see is what you get.
And that's...
But it was really important to... Just because your dudes are rolling around in hoodies doesn't mean they're dishonest.
No, and that's the kind of thing where...
Sorry, pushing John.
No, that's all right. We're going.
Pushing John.
Feed him through.
Feed him through. Yeah, it's it's not that it's the honesty and integrity, and it was actually I really regret not filming that first meeting because it was so cool. But I think 2 guys on camera are going to talk differently to 2 guys off camera.
Absolutely. There's always going to be different things said off camera, which nothing was inappropriate.
No. It's more. There's potential like sensitive information around your client.
And that's the kind of thing. There were customers that were said and names and stories and things like that. I know one of the stories that you probably do want to hear is how I gained some of my customers.
Look, I think it's important, like when we do these podcasts, I like for us to be able to bring value to maybe a younger entrepreneur that's just starting out. And they're looking at you going, hang on, this dude's 35, he's grown this and this and this. How many staff you got?
24.
That's a big deal. That's 24 personalities you're dealing with.
20, and that's that's one of the hardest parts is dealing with personalities and giving each person what they need. Whether the demographic of their age, their gender, their history, what their actual job roles are. The product distribution to someone doing banking is a lot different. You know, they're just a more diverse personality. They're going to crash shops compared to high-rise buildings where you've got elevators and office workers and that nature.
Yeah, suits and ties and silence.
Suits and ties and silence.
I hate it.
And I think that's what struck me about you is the first time that we met, I believe you had a t-shirt and shorts on.
Yeah. We've just been rolling around. And so did you.
And so did I. And that's
you put shoes on for lunch.
I put shoes on for lunch. No, I do have a pair of slides. I would have my
It's so funny.
I would have my slides in my bag over there.
Yeah.
So that's part of it, is just the honesty, integrity is, it doesn't matter what you look like, it's the service and value that someone else is giving.
Yeah.
You're not selling a product or a service or something, you're just selling a value. And that would be the same with your potential customers or your existing customers. What's actually holding them to you compared to one of your competitors? A lot of it would just be tied back to the value 100%. In the personnel.
I agree, 100%. If it's values, you've used the term ride or die.
Yeah, that was on my last Instagram post.
And I'm like, values or die. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all about values.
If you don't have the same values as the person that you're trying to do business with, it doesn't matter how cheap you are, how good you are, how fast you are.
I'm sure they can get the same product 3 different ways. Myself being in a service industry, you're in a product industry, but still a service industry, is they could still get your products or my service from another.
Well,
I
was actually thinking that when you were talking before. I was like, why you? Like, these guys were obviously, motor parts were getting moved before you finished school.
So definitely. So whether they're another little facet would be document exchanges. Sorry, have we?
Let's quickly talk about this. Have you had some?
Yeah, I have had some. I cheated.
Definitely strawberry.
I cheated. It's definitely strawberry.
That is definitely strawberry.
You like it?
I only had a sip. John's nearly finished his.
I nearly finished.
He's like, I'm in.
It's a Little Bang Brewery company.
Oh, fuck, that's good.
That's
like
That's delicious.
That is a sour as well. I got the sour afterwards.
That is delicious.
I was a bit worried about you being a Corona drinker as a,
No, but I'm not.
That you're not. I'm not going to like put you in that basket that you only drink Coronas. But I was like, I wonder if he's going to like.
No, I think more than a Corona drinker, I think I'm just more of a social butterfly where I just enjoy.
Yeah.
I just enjoy life.
Yep.
And I think that's where you said about the value and those kind of things.
Yep.
Is I resonate a lot more with the people more so than products, and that's where you're saying is. Your values have got to align with the person that you're sitting with.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the time where my potential customers go into my actual customers.
Yeah. Quickly as well.
And my retention. I don't lose customers, I'd almost say at all, except for natural attrition if they're relocating, downsizing or shutting down. I don't lose them out of service. I don't lose them out of any other reason.
Yeah. I find you strike me as the kind of person that builds rapport quickly.
I build a rapport with the person.
Yeah.
And it's an organic, honest rapport.
Yep. Yeah, it's not like some bullshit, like what the right thing. It's not like some
and that's
fucking sneaky.
And if it's not sneaky, it's always organic.
It's just you.
And it's me being me.
Yep.
It's me being able to sleep at night time because I'm happy. It's me just being able to complete my day the way honestly and be actually happy and satisfied with everything I've done. Whether it's one of my customers, whether it's a small customer or checking a PO box at the end of the day, I know they won't be dissatisfied.
Because you've done exactly what you said you were going to do.
Whether they're Google reviews or whether it's Christmas time and a Christmas card or a thank you or a thank you so much to Roger, he done this. Those kind of things, that's what keeps me motivated to continue going.
You started talking about a story of how you got a customer. I wanted to let you tell that story because people watching are going to be like, why didn't you let him tell the story?
So, say one of the stories, what would that be? Coming on to 3 years ago? And this is more so for people out there to start to look and lateral think about different ways to gain customers or a client base or connections.
Yep.
Whether you're in a market for selling retail items or whether it's shoes or drinks and things like that, you're going to need to build a network base.
100%.
And one of my things was I knew about Master Joe's.
Yep.
And wanted to work with them.
But you didn't know Joe.
I never at this point of time I'd never met Joseph.
Yep.
I didn't know Joseph any more than anybody else that was on.
Yeah, you knew of Joseph.
Yeah, any more than a digital media platform that I may have seen.
Yep.
And I was like, they're a South Australian company. I like their values.
Yep.
I like the honesty, integrity, and everything that at that time they perceived, and now I know is actual truth.
Yep.
And I wanted to align myself with that work ethic and the company and everything that went behind it, and it's led to a lot more things with sponsorships of the bodybuilding and things. So I thought I need to somehow talk to the owner or the / CEO. I need to talk to somebody, which turned out to be Joseph.
Yep.
I thought, how can I talk to this guy to try to get his attention? If I walk in, I'm not sure how that's going to go. If I call, all the general traditional ways. So
the gatekeepers are all there.
You've always got the gatekeepers. It'd be the same trying to come in and talk to you. You know, Trent's going to be in the way.
And Trent's very imposing.
Yeah, Trent's imposing. He's handing out drinks to people. And, it's hard to get to you. Yeah, and the same with myself. I lock myself away. I don't want to talk to everybody.
No, well, you got shit to do.
I've got things to do, and if I don't have something to do, it's because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I need that time to be able to...
Thinking time.
Yeah, thinking time, or sitting in a park or something like that. I need my calibration. So I figured out, I didn't figure out, I hypothesised a way that I could get Joseph's attention.
Yep.
Would be to stalk his Instagram stories.
Yep.
Have in my notes a preloaded text message. Hey Joseph, my name's John. This is what I do. This is how I could help. I'd love the opportunity just to go through it. Not too extensive, but not too brief. Just a really polite introduction. Mm-hmm. Had that in my notes with it copied, ready to go. I waited until Joe was, according to his Instagram, into an airport. Waited until he was, all right, everybody, I'm on the airport. Peace. Copy, send. Knowing it would have loaded into his phone.
Yep.
What do you do when you get on a plane? It goes in plane mode.
Yep.
What do you do when you're on plane mode? Nothing.
Yep.
Except for go through the emails you haven't looked at, go through who slid in your DM, and clean out your camera roll of all the pictures of jack shit you've got.
Yep.
And that's how I, then 30 something hours later when he landed in the UK, he did respond.
Yeah. I love that story, man. I've heard this story before, obviously. That's why I'm like laughing as you're telling it. When you first told me, I was like, that's so smart.
It was just a really good way to do that.
And now you've said it, it just makes sense. Like
it just makes sense.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's not super genius.
It's not
the fact
imposing.
that you did it was super genius.
Yeah, and it worked out really well. We have a great business
relationship. Do you and him talk
on.
about that now?
Like,
he knows that you did
that.
Yeah,
he knows. Yeah. He knows I stalked him.
Yeah.
Probably the only male that's ever stalked him.
I don't know.
Oh, he's a pretty good looking lad.
He's a pretty man.
He's a pretty man. He's a good looking lad.
I've been following his Instagram since we met, and it's very well done. I'm like, fuck, I need to do more Instagram.
And that's the thing is, looking into things like that, it just grows you as a business owner into so many more different things.
Well, that's another tool you've got in your tool belt now.
And that's something
you can do that again.
Like we were saying the other week, is using influencers, like with yourself.
Yeah.
With the lawn. Getting into capturing that side of people.
Yeah. Well, that was just like Matt Smeds just shared a lot after we gave him that fertilizer.
Yeah.
And our Instagram's gone up. Our followers have went up like 100 or 200.
And that's what I was going to say is, regardless of the value of the product, that was something that came from our interaction.
Yeah. And you're like, I know a guy that likes lawn.
I know definitely a good buddy of mine, definitely the guru of lawn porn here in the ADL.
With the biggest upper half legs I've ever seen.
With the biggest upper half legs and
he seems like a really nice dude. It was so funny because he's an imposing dude. And he seems
yeah.
like the nicest guy.
He's just an absolute.
I've never met him. I've only seen him on Insta, and obviously we've
Yeah.
been communicating since I gave you that fertilizer. But holy shit,
He's an
man.
absolute ripper of a guy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, was hopefully that opened you up to a different form of marketing.
Well, I've known about influencer marketing for a while, and we
Influencer
send a
marketing,
lot
and
of
then
stuff.
It gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Where, gone are the days of letterbox drops or trying to get people into that. Like you said, is all of a sudden your digital footprint has gone up a couple hundred people. Mm-hmm. And it's okay.
And people that are genuinely watching, not just like
And people that are genuinely...
letterbox drop.
Yeah, genuinely engaged. And then you look through, say... I'm sure he's got no problem. Like, you go through Matt Smed's comments of those pictures of the $2 coin balancing.
Yeah.
There are other people. Where is this place?
Yeah.
How do I get there?
What are you using?
What are you using? So there would be other guys on there where they've come in here and brought your product based on the
his
word
share.
of somewhere else. Where you cannot buy that kind of value. And that's what I think is...
It takes a lot more effort, which I love.
Yes.
Because it's merit based, like you have to go hand to hand and send DMs. And can I send you some shot? We do a little bit of it. I just hadn't.
Oh, we've
sent it to
changed.
him.
We're away from
Oh
strawberry.
yeah, we should probably talk about this. So this is the last beer, the India Pale Ale, which is probably a hand grenade. Oh yes, it is 7.5%.
I was going to say, it's 2.2 standard
You do
drinks.
not need to add any vodka or
it's
tequila to this.
it's probably all right the way it is.
So I'm a big fan of IPAs.
I was going to say, that's your jam, isn't it?
New England IPAs lately. This is a little bit more.
That's got
I've got some more in the fridge. I'll let you try another one after.
Yeah, that's got a poke after the strawberry.
Yeah, the strawberry. That was very.
They almost work well together. Actually,
Trent. That's all Trent.
The strawberry and the IPA. It almost comes into some kind of magic lolly.
That's all Trent. He was very smart. He curated this perfectly. He's like, what are you talking about, you dickhead?
He nailed it.
So I've got a couple more questions that I want to cover off. We've got probably about 15 minutes.
Yep.
When we first met, I noticed we talked about your building. You've got a place in the city.
Yep. On Polney Street in the city.
One of your rooms is a shoe room.
Yes.
Talk to me a bit about that.
So, my office is. What are we sitting in? About 3 meters by 3 meters.
Fair, 3.5, yeah.
3.5. So I've got 3 offices in the city, probably a touch larger than this.
Yep. So 4's kind of 4x4 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
3.5
4 by 4s, street views, full windows, very nice offices in their own right.
He didn't ask us back to his place.
Also,
Second date.
Yes, second date. You can check out the Instagram and check out the shoes if you need. So you got the working space where you got your desk and your computers, your printers, and all the things that nobody cares about.
Yep.
Then I have to have my overflow of my shoes.
Okay.
So the shoe passion started when I was a kid.
Yep.
But coming from Salisbury East, my dad, was working long hours, couple of kids, things like that. Our family, we couldn't afford the shoes that I wanted that I seen on the Saturday mornings, and I couldn't see him I seen him in the magazines of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and those things. We couldn't afford them. Yep. And nobody can afford to buy a child $150 basketball shoes 3, 4, 5 times in a year.
That's in the 90s.
And that's in the 90s.
That's not 150 now.
Fast forward now, the shoes are astronomically
It's
priced.
stupid shit like Yeezys for
that's
like
what.
up nearly $1,000. I don't even know if it's more than that now.
That's the thing. Some of them are phenomenal. Yeah. But even coming to December gone, a pair of Yeezys V2 were $600.
Yeah.
And they just escalate from there.
What do you got on? We've got to show.
We're gonna. All right. So what do we got?
Put your leg up on it.
So today, we're gonna go the shoe. We got on the 2012 edition of the Jordan 11 Bread. So that's what Michael Jordan wore in 97 season.
Yeah.
Being the black and red is the ones he would have worn during the finals.
Yep.
So
playing for the Bulls.
Playing for Chicago back in the day. So that particular shoe right now is quite a valuable shoe, being in 2012 in the condition it's in.
Yep.
But it's more of a culture.
Yep.
So I've got in excess of too many shoes.
What, in the thousands?
Not in the thousands. Remembering they are $200-$300 each.
I know.
Some of them are $600
I know.
each.
I just know a guy who I think we met at Melbourne at the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show last year, and I swear he said he had 1,300 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
He was another dude. He was a big dude as well, 6'5" or something, and all his shoes were 14s. Like that's what I wear.
Yeah, 14's a hard shoe to get because
I know.
Foot Locker normally max out on 13.
Yep, and there's like 2 pairs of. I go to the shoe shop and go, I need to see your 14s.
Yep.
And they're like, here's your 2 options.
Yeah.
They're basically school shoes, black and black.
Yeah.
Which is.
So depending on the shoe, of particular Jordans and basketball kind of shoes, it'd be close to 200.
Yep.
Of Air Maxes, be another 100 or so.
That's still a lot of money in shoes.
It is a lot of money. I know if I go to my mum's house, there's 20 odd pairs in clear shoe boxes put there just to keep them safe.
So you got shoes. That's your overflow shoes.
That's overflows. Out at my house, I have my regular rotation.
Yeah.
Even if you check my Instagram, that quite often there'll be shoes that come home just to get cleaned, and in 2 days they'll go back into storage.
Are you anal with that shit? Like, are you cleaning them and like they're going in plastic?
It's more of
or you enjoy it?
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I find it de-stressing.
Yeah.
Last night was a pair of Jordan 1s and a pair of Jordan 3s.
Yeah.
White and military blue, which doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but it's
There'd be some people that would make sense to.
Yeah. So you got your Jordan 4, which was an OG colorway, and it's almost therapeutic.
Yep.
So you would know yourself when you wake up in the morning, you think about business.
Yeah.
You check your phone and your
I
emails.
shockingly, disgustingly, before I'm even awake, I'm looking at my phone.
Yeah, you're looking at your phone.
Yeah.
You roll out of bed. Generally, everyone gets out of bed and they go to the toilet.
Yeah.
They roll out of bed, chuck piss. Where
You can say that here.
us in this day and age, we get right out of bed, we're checking our emails as you're walking off to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So I find it a nice way, the same as like we were saying about Matt Smeds with his lawn,
Yeah.
Matt Smedley,
He loves it.
where he loves it and that'd be a therapeutic outlet for himself.
Yep.
Where I think kind of the shoes and the culture behind that gives me an outlet away from work, away from employees and bank accounts, accounting and
Just
that
all
kind
the
of thing.
bullshit.
So I think it almost goes with that, where half an hour cleaning a couple of pairs of shoes with a toothbrush and a brush.
Because you're not thinking about anything else, you're just cleaning the shoes.
I'm just cleaning the shoes.
Yeah.
I'm just being present at that time. So some people probably meditate, and some people do a range of different things. It's not I don't clean shoes as a way to relax.
It just
but it's just
happens
one of
to
those
be,
things
yeah.
that's just goes hand.
I
in
definitely
hand.
need a hobby. I lately I've been walking and running. I ran this morning.
Yep.
And I meditate now, which is kind of to try and get that clarity. But I remember I used to train with a bunch of guys who did mixed martial arts. And if you want to not think about anything else, fight someone. Because if you're doing BJJ or MMA, you can't think about anything else.
No, and I think that's a really good thing, and that's what a lot of people with lifting weights and living that kind of lifestyle is. 20 kilos is always 20 kilos.
Yep.
So you're never going to beat it, and you're not going to change it.
Yep.
It'll change you, but you're not going to change it.
Yep.
20 kilos will still be around 100 years after you're dead, and it was here before you were born.
Yeah.
So it won't change.
Yeah.
So that's a really good way to channel something you can't change and just come to peace with it.
Yeah, and just go do it. So, it's funny, we talked about you at 50 before. Actually, we'll finish these beers. We've got a surprise for you.
We've got a surprise. All right.
So, it can't be a podcast with John without John's Corona. So, I didn't know if you saw the sneaky bottle of tequila pop in, but
I didn't. I didn't see anything.
when we had lunch with John, Trent and I caught up with John, and as I guess anyone who knows what I'm doing at the moment, I'm trying to reduce my alcohol consumption. So, I had a vegetarian meal.
You had a
and drank
vegetarian
some-
pizza?
Yeah,
Or
pizza.
Trent had the
Yeah,
vegetarian pizza?
It was good.
Forget what I had.
I think I had a vegetarian pizza, and we drank water, and you'd had 2 John's Coronas.
Yeah.
So I have to drink some of this?
Yeah, so we'll go...
What's the process?
So the process is not an exact science, but we just get a mouthful out. So you just
cold.
You just got to create some...
I'm not a tequila drinker, by the way. So
I don't think you have to be a tequila drinker.
that's
I
just
think
off the shelf.
it's more of a... it's not so much being a tequila drinker as it is just being...
I've never seen anyone do this. So just to give some context, we went and caught up with John as a... Do you want a shot glass, or are you just doing it?
No, I think we're just
You'll
freestyle.
know. So Steve Mills, who was a client of mine 10 years ago and has stayed a friend of mine, you know, those kind of friends on Facebook that you don't see at all, but you know, you kind of stay in touch. And I caught up with Steve and he's like, you need to meet John. So we've kind of organised to catch up.
We'll just pop this down for Trent.
John's like, let's go have some lunch. So we've gone to have some lunch. And John's like, can I get a John's Corona? I'm like, what the fuck is he talking
Pop your thumb on and just gently so you don't end up Formula One champagning all over the show.
All right.
And that's just
Yep. So, whoa,
yep,
there's
so
the Formula One.
Now good.
So John's like, I'll get a John's Corona. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? This cafe that we were at, the lady that was serving us came up with a tray with a funnel, which you bought for the restaurant.
Which is my funnel for the restaurant.
I don't think we've got any citrus, but...
No, I think that's fine.
We can do with that. So cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking about... Oh, hang on.
So give it a... Just give it a couple of seconds.
Yeah, that's all good.
It takes well, first of all, you got to kill these flavours.
I haven't had tequila for a while. Jesus.
It's unique.
It's good.
Is Trent on?
Trent's got to drive. So we kind of were talking about how you're buying, you're investing for adult, big boy John, adult John,
Yeah.
future John.
I've always looked into the future for some reason.
Yep.
Not so much at school thinking about a profession. I was never lucky enough to go, I want to be an accountant. You know, you got those...
It wasn't on your radar.
It was never on my radar when I was a kid. You know, a buddy of mine, I know Chris at primary school, when I'm older I want to be an accountant.
Yep.
And he is an accountant.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of people in those things where...
The dudes I hung out with, none of them are doing what they would.
This was primary school.
Yeah.
You know, the people
I was going to be a lawyer.
The people I was hanging out in high school, they all just end up being nothing.
Yeah.
But then as I got a little bit older, it was a few different things. There was no significant event in my life per se, but there was just something in me where I was see older people, I'll be like, I need to look after old John. And it almost just became a comic thing of what's old John going to do?
It's funny. The reason I guess I wanted to. One of the questions I had written down was like, what's 50-year-old John doing? Right.
So what's 50-year-old John doing?
And it's funny that you talked about 55-year-old John
Yeah.
or 45-year-old John because you're already starting to protect him now. And the only person I've ever heard talk about this is Ryan Serhant, who's a real estate agent in America.
Okay.
And he always
Is he
talks
the one
about
on the New York.
He was on $1 Million Listing.
$1 Million Listing, yeah.
Stupidly good looking, grey hair, works out, wicked suits, sneakers and suits.
Always had the pocket hanky and
he's like, I'm doing this for me as a 70-year-old, and I'm doing this for old me. I'm doing because he's always thinking like that. So he's the only other person I've ever heard talk about it, and it's interesting. So I'm curious. You're obviously banking for future.
Yeah,
but what will you be doing then?
So, what will I be doing? What's old John going to be doing?
Like, will you be working? Are you going to be post hasting? Are you going to be? Do you even know?
I don't know exactly what I'll be doing.
Yep.
I enjoy what I'm doing right now at 35.
Yep.
So 35, 5 years in, I've still got more to go.
You're still very fresh in business, aren't
Still
you?
very fresh in company owning.
Like being a sole director of a...
Being a sole director of a company with employees and payroll and everything else that goes behind it that you know of, it's still very young.
Sorry, I'll let you answer your question.
So I still got...
Does it get lighter?
Yeah, it gets lighter.
Okay.
It gets lighter. Maybe just give it a little...
This is the reaction you wanted, isn't it? Yeah.
This is pretty much what
This is like an Instagram clip of me just like... and you like, this man can't handle his alcohol. Sorry.
So... I don't exactly plan what old John will be doing.
You just know he'll be safe.
And but I just want him to be safe. And I almost make him a fictional character because it works out better in my head to just say old John.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's almost justifiable.
It's almost justifiable, and it makes everything else, 5 years ago when younger John to now, when younger John was going, all right, let's just work Easter weekend. Let's go in on Saturday. Let's be here on New Year's Eve to get the end of the month done.
While all younger Peter and younger David and younger friend were getting drunk and doing stupid shit.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
And now what are older Peter, I don't even know what names they use, but what are those guys got now?
So what, those guys at 30 that were doing something on New Year's Eve, where are they now at 35?
That's right.
So that's what I always think about is, not always. You still got to live the moment and make the most of everything you've got.
And be happy.
But you need to just think about a little bit what's in the future.
I love it, man. I'm going to say, on that note,
Thanks so much.
thank you so much for coming in.
Awesome.
This is a very different beer.
It's a very different one. I think we've got some space out the back. We could probably make these.
There's Coronas out the back.
No, I think we can make them and sell them.
We should do that. You need some kind of license for that shit. No, well, he's got a cash and transit license.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's close enough.
Yeah.
I think it's close enough. We'll mix some of these and some of that.